Howdy y'all, this is Texas Gaming Industries here, and welcome back to another episode of my Let's Play of Railway Empire. In the previous episode, we expanded north from Salt Lake City to Great Falls via rail, as well as starting to build up the cities in the south, as well as acquiring one of the last few steam locomotives of the 1850 to 1870 era, the Baldwin 10-wheeler. And in this episode, I'm hoping to expand our railroad a little more, and possibly connect a couple more cities and industries together, while at the same time saving our connection between the east and west from Guadalupe all the way to San Francisco, completing the standard transcontinental railroad route. So let's begin with some construction around Tuscan. Now, considering where Tuscan is located, I might actually convert this into a furniture town, because I could deliver logs from Rice Clearing all the way to Kingman or to Albuquerque. But again, I'll have to basically wait for the most opulent time to do so. Lay down the track here, place a couple of signals in these parts. And we'll connect the main line this way, so trains running from Albuquerque can go straight towards Tuscan. Now, let's see. We can make... Let's make El Paso a clothing town to save time. Because, for one thing, Albuquerque will soon need clothes later on. And having a clothing factory super close by will really help our business. And we'll have 4 tracks running out of El Paso. One set going straight to Tucson. I don't know. Just like the last time I thought I misspelled Odessa, well in reality it was the correct pronunciation. I think I'll basically build a line straight from San Antonio direct to Tucson. You know what, I'm gonna just call it Tucson, because that's what I believe it says. Tucson. We'll build past this cattle ranch. We'll probably might connect it later on. And we'll start building the line passing El Paso, through the plains, passing Odessa. We're gonna get a 0%. 6, that's 9, that's 4. Ooh, we'll have to build like a big steel viaduct over this route. Build a large, steel bridge. Now, if there's one thing that Railway Empire doesn't have compared to some of the other railroad games, like Railroad Tycoon 2, 3, and the original, it's the fact that you can choose on what type of bridge you want to build over, like a river or a stream. Meaning you could build like a steel bridge or a wooden trestle bridge, depending on how much money you had. But each game basically only allows you to build a wooden trestle bridge, and if it's a high elevation, you can only build a steel bridge. There are no stone viaducts, even though there is an innovation in the game that allows you to do that. Maybe they might do it in a sequel, or maybe in a spin-off, but as it is right now, we're just stuck with trestles. And I messed up on the track leading into the station. There. Oh, come on. Track plans, you fooled me, you failed me. You're dead to me. Anyway, Now, we'll add the signals here, and now trains can easily travel into and out of Tuscan and travel to either San Antonio or towards El Paso. Wait, why is this not going? I think this is a bad section of double track. I'll just have to replace this section. Actually, I think it might be the earth elevation or something. Oh, great. I just deleted my entirety of my track. I'll be right. Just give me a second. I might be able to fix this. But I think it's best if I just cut, and I'll come back to you in a little bit. And we're back. I also was able to put down the signal for the line between Tuscan and El Paso. Speaking of which, we gotta get the line between El Paso and Odessa connected as well. You can't have a clothing factory without any textiles to make the clothing with. We'll build over the river, connect to this section, and there we go. I think we basically got most of the Southwest completely covered. I mean, look at all the cities on the bottom right corner. All these blue dots mean that we have connected to our system. Although there's a couple that we haven't connected, like Bismarck, Seattle, Portland, Oregon, Carson City, Nevada, San Francisco, and Los Angeles, California. But once we connect to that, we'll basically chalk down another goal on my list of connecting every city. But now, let's get some trains running to get some profit coming in. Let's start off with a passenger train from Tuscan to El Paso. Passenger trains are the best way to make some money, just in the beginning. But the Rodgers 440, but we'll eventually have to replace our old Rodgers 440s with something a little more modern and a little more faster. We can eventually be able to acquire another locomotive later on. Whoa, I got the Tuscan Tyson 10-wheeler. Let's replace that. Anyway, we are able to access one of the new locomotives of the 1870 to 1890 era, the Virginia and Truckee's Inyo 440, a classic example of a Wild Western 440 American. Though we also have some other innovation points that we can also get, not just for these two consolidations, but for a Northern Pacific 210 decapod. Surprisingly, this locomotive, despite the fact that this engine was designed and built for the Northern Pacific in the 1890s, it's classified as an 1850 to 1870 locomotive, and you can unlock it as the second engine in the 1870 to 1890 era. I think I'll personally save the decapod and the B variant of the consolidation as we enter the 1900s, as they would basically fit that era much better. Anyway, with our 440s in service, war breaks out in South Carolina. Yep, we're fully fledged into the Civil War. Now, my trains will not be affected by this. However, one of the missions in the campaign mode does involve you of working with the US government to help the nation during this conflict. And at the same time, we might as well start operating a passenger train between Odessa and El Paso, as well as also providing freight between the two cities. Let's see, El Paso to Odessa, passenger, put in the Rodgers 440, then El Paso to Odessa again, classify as freight. Ooh. Switch the starting destinations, and put it in the Mogul. Oh wait, it's carrying cloth. Why would I need a refrigeration car for that? And I also gotta place down my signals so my two trains can travel along this section of line without having to wait for the other one to come through. Considering there's an incline, I'm personally putting the supply tower here. Plus, now that I think about it, I could operate a freight train from Denver all the way to El Paso by connecting it from here to basically this line here. Ooh, that's quite a lot of cuts. $34,000 for the earthworks and $53,000 to lay down the track. But it's perfectly level. And since we don't have we already have a much larger locomotive that's capable of hauling freight, but it's not as fast as the other locomotives, so we could just basically use that class of engine for right now to handle these trains. We'll eventually replace our Rodgers 4.260 Moguls on freight operations eventually. There's another locomotive in the 1870 to 1890 era that actually will be useful on those trains. Let's operate a train between. Oh! Nitroglycerin that will reduce the tunnel construction by 8%. Alright, let's put a passenger train in it. Hopefully, passengers won't mind the long trip between these two cities. They don't mind at all. Good. Plus, since El Paso's now making clothing, I could ship clothing from El Paso straight to Denver. Speaking of which, I got some freight to deliver from between Tusculum to El Paso. I gotta get the city to grow because it's not taking any meat. Oh, I'll also have to add the cattle ranch as well. And since it's super close, we'll put a Philadelphia class on it. And give this train a speed bonus engineer. Now, time to check the balances. 78, 69, 79, $144. 102, 122, 63. Plus, the line between San Antonio and Tusculum will be very important. Because of the direct connection between these two cities, the train won't have to make constant stops. Ooh, the fruit farm is interested in being connected to our railroad network. Now, there's a bit of a unique trick that I have in this game. As soon as you connect it, the bonus is given. It doesn't require you to operate a train for at least a year or so to basically earn that special bit of cash. So, I like to do is basically take the bonus and delete the line. Not only these bonuses will cover my construction costs, but I might be able to net a little bit of extra money back once I remove the track. Perfect. Now trains can travel easily between Odessa and San Antonio. Let's start a train between San Antonio and Odessa. And I don't think the city is big. It might be big enough to be supplied with textiles. I'm not so sure. So look. No, it needs to be at 30,500. I mean, corn's being delivered, there's meat available, but there's no logs, no wheat, and no beer. But that's going to be a bit of a problem because... Oh, actually, why don't we make Oklahoma City a beer town as well? So meat could travel between these cities a lot much faster. I'll also have to build a station here to connect the Clark grain farm with the main line. Alright, we'll start operating a train. Track 1 will be from Oklahoma City, and the other to Kansas City. Plus, since there's sugar nearby, I could basically deliver fruit and sugar to Kansas City to make liquor in the near future. But Kansas City needs to grow first in order to do that. Kansas City already has tons of meat and beer available, but it just needs some corn. Which... yeah. I could build a little spur line at the stock farm, expand it south, and connect it to this section. Because of the distance, I'm putting the number 51 Franken in charge. We now have over 400 research points, so we might as well choose another locomotive. But I'd rather save them for when the time is right to acquire the consolidation. Breakdown, bad condition. Oh yeah, I haven't put any maintenance facility as any of my new stations just yet. That is not good. Especially since my trains are trying to make a new decent profit. Speaking of which, all my trains are basically making profits. 167 trains, and my most profit is the New Orleans to Memphis passenger service, while the least is the New Kingman to Denver service, as well as the Tuscan to El Paso freight. There's no freight available. Tuscan is basically producing that stuff. Oh, that's because El Paso doesn't have any cotton available. Well, El Paso is only producing clothes. I'll have to rebuild the track network then. Oh, come on. Oh. I think that tight curve is not what I want, but beggars can't be choosers. Okay. Let's try this. There we go. That'll do. Albuquerque's not big enough to be supplied with clothing just yet. And I gotta build up a supply tower here too. Let's see. I could build a line to connect Oklahoma City to Albuquerque. I'll probably do a lot better. I'll also build past the corn farm and the dairy farm for later use, as well as passing the Robinson Manor. I could actually start delivering grain. Oh. Stupid bridges. Trying to get in the way of my construction plans. There we go. Perfect. Now, with the new station tracks in place, we can start expanding we can start building up our towns now. Because one of our tasks is to make Odessa the city with the largest population. And that's not going to be easy considering all the cities I've grown so far in the East Coast are quite big. Build a station near the corn farm, the Mason Manor. I'll build a loop around to connect it here. Place the signals. And then place another station here at the Robinson Manor. Surprisingly, even though the cities can be served by 2 railroads, it could actually be served by 3 railroad industries. Can be served by multiple stations. Like, I could actually build, like, nearly 6 stations, which is incredible. If multiplayer was a thing in this game, imagine all the chaos you would be able to create. Not allowing your competitor or the other player to basically use that industry for your needs. And if you miss that, well, newspaper, we basically start beginning to... The Transcontinental Railroad Act was passed by Abraham Lincoln, which means now railroads have permission to expand westward. But that will basically have to wait till the end of the war. Now, let's see. We got grain being delivered. We got corn being delivered. Jones family near Kansas City. I'm buying it. This industry could be worth a bundle. Bonus from Washington to Atlanta Express. That could be useful, but due to the traffic, I highly doubt it will be profitable. Houston also needs some supplies too. Let's deliver some corn from the Smith Reserve down to Houston. We'll have to reconnect on this section of track. Wait, have I assigned a passenger train to this line yet? No, I haven't. What was I thinking? I expand the railroad line so much, I sometimes forget to put essential services on the line. Ooh, $247,000 loss. Not great, but we can possibly improve that in the next quarter. We'll put in P for passenger. Put the Rodgers in place. Add a conductor. And we have over 600 innovation points. Kansas City is growing pretty well, and it needs sugar. Not a problem. This is the thing that I really like about these type of games. You basically deliver supplies to cities, and you just watch them grow over time. Bigger cities equal more population and more stuff. Expel the barbarians. Oh, I guess this is basically from the Japan DLC, I believe. Anyway, we'll put the dragon in charge of delivering sugar. And later on, actually, let's just do that now for later. We'll connect the Wilson Preserve Estate and connect it to the main line. Our Philadelphia 060 will deliver the fresh fruit from the farm down to Kansas City to be turned into liquor. But the city's not big enough for fruit just yet. Same with vegetables. But considering how close the Robinson Estate is, I can build a spur line connected, as well as build a passing loop. Let's see. Ticket price between these two lowered. This lowered. This lowered. This lowered. This lowered. And this one lowered. $206 for a ticket between these two cities. Change to $40 a trip ticket. No suitable freight available. It seems like Albuquerque has grown too big. Oh right, because since that city is being served, why would I have a railroad connect state have two industries serving the same type of commodity? Albuquerque is already stocked to the brim with that already. Now, I think we could convert one of these industries around here. Unrest in New York, populace does not want to go to war. Yeah, that's because most people were not interested in fighting in this war. Anyway, we actually could now start operating a passenger and freight operation between Albuquerque and Kansas and Oklahoma City. Put in P. Put in the Rodgers 440 at the conductor. I just realized that Albuquerque doesn't need a whole bunch of cattle. Let's just convert it into something else. Let's convert it into a weaving factory. That way, extra amounts of textiles can be delivered straight to the clothing factory in El Paso. And with that, we can basically start operating a freight service between Tuscan to Albuquerque delivering meat. Same from Kingman to Albuquerque. Because since these cities were producing meat, there was just no need to add that. Kingman is actually big enough for textiles, so this is going to actually help. Well, we still have a loss, but at least we basically made more than we did last year. Almost every city is basically growing pretty well. Oh, and Miles City has gone big enough for a new industry. Let's see. There's fruit up there, there's cotton there. I think let's just add a textile factory there, so we can basically make more textiles. And then connect to the main line from this section at King Cattle. I'll even build a passing loop to allow more than one train to travel through. Because of its remote area, the farm is probably 2 trains is probably the best way to deliver the essential amount of materials needed to make a product. Now, there's something I also don't get in Railway Empire. The small locomotives are super fuel efficient, but as the locomotives get bigger, their fuel efficiency goes down. Normally, locomotives like these would travel distances so long that they only need to stop for fuel once. But sometimes these trains have to stop for fuel twice, depending on how long it is. No, I am not buying you. Thank you very much. I'll put in 1, and put in number 2, and also upgrade the city for the arrival, just in case. We'll probably try to connect to Bismarck next, and then it will just leave, and we basically have almost every city in the entirety of the country connected to our railroad network. Oklahoma City is starting to do pretty well. Probably I'll increase the amount of meat and beer it's producing. Milk is already being delivered to Denver. Albuquerque's grown big enough to 40,000 residents. I can now build a lumber industry here and turn logs into lumber. Industry, baby! That's how you do things. We'll add the inventor, see... Oh, we have like 1,000 points now! That's incredible. And Kansas City has now grown to be a bigger city. Now, let's add the one spin of industry, the distillery. And at the Philadelphia 060 to deliver the first loads of fruit to Kansas City to make liquor. And I think it's probably time to add something else at Pittsburgh. Let's add a museum, and the city is not big enough to add an extra industry. Although the fulfillment of demand is nearing 60%, the city needs to have a much better amount of cargo being brought out. I think I'll just... that's a pretty good amount. It's time to replace it with a steel mill. And, we got a new task. We got steel. We had to get steel produced in one city, which we already done by building it in Pittsburgh. Now we got the prototypical stuff done. We'll connect this iron ore mine to the main network, and we'll also connect a local coal mine to deliver the coal there. And with that, I think we're almost done with this episode. But there's one more locomotive that I personally want to get to finish this off. We'll add a train between these two for right now, but we'll need a new locomotive. And the engine I'm picking? That's right, the consolidation, which kinda oddly resembles the consolidation that was used in Sid Meier's railroads, albeit without the little roof above the tender to keep the coal dry from the rain. We'll put the coal hauling locomotive on that, and then put this in charge of the iron ore trains. And that will probably do it for this episode. We got a lot of connections done, we got various new trains in operation, and also got one of our newest locomotives, the consolidation, in service. So, if you like this episode of Railway Empire, please be sure to leave a like and a comment, as well as subscribe to Texas Gaming Industries for future video content uploaded every first Friday. Once again, this is Texas Gaming Industries, and I want to say thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye!